Welcome back, guys. In previous video you learned about how to create a custom block using ES5, which is something that is understood by most of the browsers already, and in this video you're going to learn how to go ahead and use WordPress-scripts package that allows you to use Webpack and Babel behind the scenes to convert your ES6 into JavaScript that most browsers can understand. So basically we will be writing our blocks into ECMAScript 6, and then we will go ahead and use Webpack and Babel to convert it Babel to convert it into JavaScript that browsers can understand, most browsers can understand, and Webpack does all the bundling and everything. So if you've watched my introduction video, then we've already covered about how these things work. So this video is basically going to be about how to set up your project, basically create a plugin with WordPress scripts, and how to go ahead and create a custom block using ES6. Okay, so let's begin. The first thing we're going to do is basically create a plugin directory. So I have already got the latest WordPress version installed. So the latest WordPress, you can get it from here in case if you haven't already. So you can go to get WordPress download and download the 5.1.1, or you can use it if you have anything above WordPress 5.0. okay, you can still use it. Great, so I've got that already installed. I'm going to go into my plugins directory. I'm going to create a new directory and I will name it as my Guten block. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is basically create a package.json. So we'll run npm init. Okay, so our package name is my Guten-blog. Version is 1.0. Description: Gutenberg custom block plugin. Entry point index.js. Test command nothing. Git repository, keywords, author imranhsayed, license, and there you go. So we've got our package.json created. So what npm init does is it basically creates a package.json file inside of this directory. So we've created a plugin directory called my Guten-blog inside of a plugins directory of WordPress install, and npm init went ahead and created a package.json file. This basically maintains information about different packages that you install, your npm node module packages. Okay, and this is the name of the package, version number, and all of this information that we've just filled. Okay, now guys, as I explained earlier, that WordPress scripts package is going to take care of all the dependencies, so we need to install this as well. So let's go ahead and just clear this and do npm install -d is for saving it as dependency, and then -- save exact is going to go ahead and install an exact version of WordPress scripts. So the package name is wordpress/scripts, and we'll just install it. And while it gets installed, let's just see what this actually is. I'm in the description. So if we search it on Google, you'll see that this package is provided by WordPress, and it has these dependencies, which means that this already goes ahead and downloads the packages for Babel, Webpack, even ESLint, so all of that. So you don't have to manually do all of this. It will take care of all the configurations and everything for you behind the scenes. Okay, but if you do want to set up a project without WordPress scripts package, you want to do it from scratch using Babel and Webpack, then I have created different tutorials for Babel as well as Webpack. You can go through that on YouTube, as well as I have written different blogs. So you can go on to Medium and you can check at imranhsayed, and you'll be able to see all the different blocks for Babel as well as Webpack, all of this, right? Okay, so you can follow along that, and you can learn Babel and Webpack if you don't already know. Okay, Brilliant. Let's see if it's installed. It's a big package, guys. You can see that there are 22 dependencies. So let's just wait for it to finish. In the meanwhile, we'll see what next we can do. So guys, what this is going to do is basically, since it has installed, it is going to install a Webpack behind the scenes. So Webpack would need an entry file. So generally by default it goes ahead and takes it from source directory. You need to have a file called index.js. So let's create one, index.js. So this is the file where we'll write all the code for our custom blocks in JavaScript in ECMAScript 6. Okay, and then it's going to go ahead and bundle this file, and Babel is going to go ahead and convert the ES6 into the JavaScript that most browsers can understand, and it's going to bundle, Webpack is going to bundle that converted and transformed file into index.js, which it will go ahead and make it inside of the build directory. Let me just confirm. Yep, build directory. Okay, great. So we don't have to create this index.js build file. Webpack will do that for us when we run a script. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is basically add some scripts for our package. So if we go to our package.json, currently it doesn't have any scripts, so we can get rid of this test, and inside of this we can put these two scripts. So these are a custom scripts. So basically what this is going to do is this is going to allow us to run WP script start. So when we run npm run start, it is basically behind the scenes running npm run WP script start. What this is going to do is going to start our development in development mode for Webpack, and Webpack is going to start building your package. Okay, so it's going to take your index.js from the source directory and bundle it up and make a file inside of the build.js, and the best part is that it's also going to watch it for you. Okay, so it goes into watch mode, and if you make any changes into index.js file, it will immediately catch that change and build the bundle for you inside of build directory. Okay, and during the production mode you can just run WP scripts build, npm run build. Basically they just run this command, and that will not be in a watch mode. It'll just create a bundle out of the index.js. Okay, great. So let's do that. Let me see if it's already installed. Great, it's installed. Okay, so great. Let me just clear this up. So the next thing what we're going to do, guys, is basically register our block now. So we'll go to our index.js instead of source directory, and WordPress basically provides us with something called WP blocks, which has got all the different functions available for us to create the block. So we have something called register block type, okay, as equal to WP dot blocks block. Okay, so you must be thinking what this is. This is ES6 destructuring. So basically this is as good as writing like const register. Let me just copy this from here, is equal to WP dot block dot register block type. So it's as good as this. So it's pulling this particular method out of WP dot block. Okay, so this line is same as this line. Okay, so let's get rid of this. So that's how ECMAScript 6 makes your life easier, because you know it is shorten the syntax for you, and you can do multiple. So if there are other objects available, you can do multiple. You can go ahead and do other variables also. Like if there was a variable 1, 2, variable 4, you can pull all of the other variable out of this. Okay, anyways, so in some time I will show you what is included inside of a WP block. Let's just register a block first. Okay, so I'm just going to copy the code from here just to save time. Okay, so register block type is a method provided from WP block, WP.block. Okay, and this is something that we are writing over here. This is a custom name that we are providing, and then we put /test block. So guys, this is your plugin name, and this is which is called a namespace basically, and this is your block name. So we just name it as test block, and I think we should change it to my Guten dash block. Okay, and this is the title basically of for your block, custom block, and this is the icon, which will be a smiley icon that will be displayed. You have a lot of dashboard icon also available, like dash icons that WordPress provides. You can use that, or you can use an SVG image also for your custom icon. Okay, you can go to dash icons, and you can see there are different dash icons that you can use. So you can use these names, like for example this one, you can put it over here like this. Okay, of course you can get rid of this one, right? Okay, great. So this category is basically the category for the layout, so I'll just show that to you. So if you go to post in your dashboard, if you click on add new, and then you click on this plus icon, you scroll down, you see these categories: common blocks, formatting, layouts, widgets. So these are your categories basically. So our block will be registered inside of the layout element. So currently it doesn't show because we have to do a lot of things right now, but eventually it should show over here. Okay, so that's the category basically. Edit function is responsible for you know, whatever goes on over here in the text editor. So when we select a particular custom block, you know, whatever editing functionality you add goes over here in edit method. Class name is basically you know, a variable that is provided which will contain the class name for your block. Okay, so I will show that to you once this block is registered. Okay, and this is basically JSX written over here. So in JSX, the class property or the class attribute is named as class name. Why? Because class in JavaScript is a reserved keyword, so we can't use class over here. That's why it goes to class name. Similarly, if we had something like for in an input element, then it'll be changed to HTML4. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, and so if you learn ES6, then I'm sure you would know about all of this. So if you want to put a variable like this, for example, generally what we do is in HTML we put class and then we put a class name like XYZ class, whatever. But if you want to make that variable, then it allows us to use these curly braces, and I can put the variable here. So this will dynamically generate the class name for us, and there's some content inside of it. And this is basically an arrow function. Okay, so this whole function, you can say, will be an equivalent to something like this, like function anonymous function, and then class name like this. So in ES5, that's how it look like, and then return, then div, and div with the class name, and then hello world. Okay, so that's how it look like in ES5, but since it's in ES6, we are using arrow function, and instead of using return keyword, we are just directly going ahead and you know, using return automatically. If just one line that's being returned, then you don't really need to use the return statement in arrow function. Okay, great. Then you have save method. So whenever user enters or any information over here, what gets saved into the database is what is being returned over here. Okay, so currently this edit and save is not doing much. We will build all the functionalities in the upcoming videos. However, this video is basically to show you how to set up your project for ES6 using WordPress-scripts package, which actually uses Webpack and Babel behind the scenes. Okay, great. So next up, okay, so I think we can start bundling our package. So let's see what happens when we run npm start. So remember, we had set up some script in the package.json. When we run npm start, npm run start, it'll actually run wp script start. Okay, so let's try that. Npm run start. So you can see it's running wp script start, right? And Webpack is watching the files, so it's watching for any changes that you make. So if you go ahead and make a change over here, like for example you do some console log test or do whatever here, you can see that it's actually watching and it's actually bundled your file again. So what's happening over here, if you check, it's taking your entry point as index.js inside of source, okay, and it's converting into index.js, which is inside of the build. So if you now open build, you can see this is the bundled file it's created, right? So currently it's not minified because you have run into development mode, which is npm start. When we run npm build, then this file will be minified. Let's try that once. So you can see it's running the script wp-scripts build, and it's actually build it for us. So now if we check, you can see now it's minified, right? So for production it will be better to use the minified one. However, for development, so that it's easy for us to debug, we can use the npm run start, okay, so that we get the unminified file. Okay, so let's go back and do npm run start again. So even if you delete it, it'll create one again. See, it's created one, right? Okay, now since we have all our code, so if you check, this is, we had put over here console log test. If you go and search it in this file, so it's here, right here, correct? So now if you notice, this was ES6, correct, and it's converted that into ES5 so that browsers can understand. So you can see, remember I'd shown you this example wherein register block type variable is equal to wp blocks or register block type. So it's pulling the register block type method out of the wp.blocks object. Okay, so that's called object destructuring. Okay, so that's what has been done over here. Okay, then register block type method that's being called over here. So you can see this is the same method called over here, passing all of the information, but it has actually gone ahead and converted the ES6 arrow function into a standard function of ES5. You can see this, right? Similarly for save also, it's returning. Remember I had shown it to you down at the bottom how this arrow function is equivalent to ES5 function, right? So that's exactly what's happening. Okay, so Babel is doing all the transformation of converting the ES6 into ES5, so most browsers can understand. Because if you go and check can I use.com, and if you check arrow functions, you can see that Internet Explorer doesn't support it, Opera Mini doesn't, IE Mobile, etc. So to make sure that our code is available for most browser to understand, we are using Babel, and Webpack is actually going ahead and bundling the file into index.js inside of builds directory. Okay, and we have a converted code. So you can see that how easy it is for us to write the entire code in one line compared to in writing a whole bunch of information in a function. So ES6 makes our life easier. It shortens your syntax and also provides many other benefits, which I'm sure you know if you know ES6. If you don't, then if you learn about it, you'll get to know about it. Okay, great. Let's continue further. So since now we have our block registered over here with JavaScript, we still have to register that on server side as well. So this is done client side, but we need to register server side. For that we need to include it, basically enqueue it. Okay, so we need to enqueue this file basically, and we need to enqueue our styles as well, because we would want, when we create our block, then we might want to style it in the editor. Okay, and then we might want to style it in the front end as well when you go ahead and publish that particular post. Okay, alright, so let's enqueue it. For that, the first thing we do is, we haven't still created a plugin file, guys, so let's create a plugin file. So in the same directory, in the root directory, let's create a file called myguten. Of course you can name it what you like. I'm just putting the same name. Ideally you should keep the directory name and your plugin name the same. Okay, now I'll just say plugin. Of course there's a bunch of stuff you write here when you create a plugin, but I'm just writing plugin name here just for demonstration purposes. Okay, so I can write my Gutenberg plugin. Okay. Plugin description, custom block plugin. Okay, then I'm just going to copy paste from here, guys, just to save time, and then I'll explain to you what it means. So what we're doing over here, guys, basically we have created a function. This is a custom function, my custom block register block, in order for us to register a block, and then we're just hooking it to init hook using add action function. Okay, so what are we doing over here? The first thing we are doing, in fact we need to do three things. We need to register our index.js. okay, then we need to register our styles as well. Let's quickly create our style files. So let's create one for the editor. So we'll name it as editor.css and then that'll be for the responsible for the styles in this on this dashboard in the editor section, and then we need one for the front end as well. So let's create one style.css. This is going to be for the front end, how our block looks like in the front end, how the user sees it. Okay, so you've got these two files. We'll go back to our my Gutenberg block .php. So we are registering our block file first. So you can see wp register script. You already know about this function if you know WordPress. This basically helps us register our script. Okay, the first parameter is the handle. You know about it. It's a unique handle that we provide. In my case, I'm putting it as my custom block. Then we need to give the second parameter as the file path. So let me just show that to you here quickly. So first is the handle, second is the source, basically the full URL of the script that you want to enqueue. So plugin URL basically is going to return the URL of this particular file that we are passing as path. Okay, so file is going to be the root of this particular plugin, my Gutenberg block, and then /build /index.js. So basically it's going to return the path up until index.js inside of the builds directory. Okay, this one, because remember we need to enqueue the bundled file and not the unbundled one. Okay, then we need to pass in some dependencies, guys. One is wp blocks, wp element, and third is wp editor. So I will just explain that to you what these means. So these are the packages that WordPress provides to us, and WordPress wants us to ensure we add this as dependencies. For example, wp blocks, it includes the block type, registration, and related functions that we require. WP elements include the WordPress element abstraction for describing the structure of your block, and WP editor includes components like rich text, etc. So if you want to use components like rich text, then you need to include WP editor. So we've included all three of this. For now it's okay if we just include these two, which is WP blocks and WP element, but I have included this WP editor because in the following videos when we use React as well, then we would need this as well. Okay. Brilliant. So the next parameter is file time. So if you check, first is unique handle, second is source of the file that you want to include, third is dependency. We already included dependency. Version number, we are skip version number. So version number actually helps us because, for example, if you give version 1.0 and later on if you change to version 1.1, then browser will go ahead and reload your style. If you keep the same, then you'll just use it from the cache memory. Okay, so we are using file time. So what this function does is basically gives us the timestamp of the current time. Okay, so we are actually using that with our file name, and we are just appending the timestamp to it so that it gives us a unique version number every time, right? So that's that. And then we are registering our style sheets. So one is editor.css for the editor styles, and then style.css for, then we are registering our style.css as well for the front end style, and all of the similar parameters are used here as well. And then finally we are calling this function, which is register block type. What this function does is basically registers a block type on server side, okay, and it takes the name and certain arguments. So we are passing the same name, so we have to use the same name that we've used here. So I think we've used here this one, I think. Okay, right, and then these are basically the editor script, editor style, and style. These would allow us to take all of these handles, my custom block, then my custom block, editor style, all of these, and this is going to go ahead and enqueue these scripts and style using the register block type function. Okay, so this is how our block will be registered server side as well. Okay, so let's try it out. Let's see if we are able to see that. So we already running Webpack. Best part is that we don't have to do anything. Whatever changes we make over here are going to be displayed. So let's save it and let's see if our file are being included. So if I just refresh the page, and I'll check inspect element. Okay, there's something wrong here. Register block type of undefined. Let me just check that. Okay guys, I think I've missed S over here, so that's why it was error. So it's WP blocks and not block. So I think Webpack should have already run. Let's refresh it and try it again. So let's refresh it. So you can see you have now test being displayed, and that's what we had consoled over here. Let me get rid of this test. I just want to show you what's included inside of this WP blocks. Okay, let me console that. And let me just refresh the page. Webpack is already doing its job bundling the files, and that file is being included over here dynamically anyway. So this is the module. You can see there are different methods that WordPress provides to us. What we are interested in is the register block type. So let me see, here it is. You can see this is the function, correct? So this is a method that WordPress provides to us inside of WP blocks that we are using here to register a block type. So it takes 2 parameters. So brilliant. So let me get rid of this, and let's see if we can find our basic example block over here. Some magic should happen, abracadabra, and let me just get that. So if you click on this, or you can click here as well, and if you go to layout, because that's the category we gave. Brilliant guys, you can see that nice smiley over here. So we've got a block registered. Yay, great, awesome. How much time did that take? 10-15 minutes, not sure, but we got our first block registers guys, and that too with ES6. Amazing. Wasn't too complicated, was it? Wasn't, right? So I'll make things easier for you guys. I know it looks difficult, but I'll make it easier for you. Keep things simple. Okay, so you'll understand it even better as you go further, and trust me, if you learn Babel, Webpack, all of this, things are gonna be much easier for you. So if you don't know it already, just go out, check my videos, you'll learn it, and then things will be much better for you. Even the ES6, React, if you learn all of that, then it'll be better. Okay, great. Let's continue further. So we have already included our styles. We can check the page source. So remember, we had included editor.css. Let me see if it's being included. Brilliant, you can see the editor.css is included. And remember, we put a file time function in the main plugin file. So this function is responsible for adding a version which is basically a timestamp over here. So if I refresh the page, notice it's 161 right now. If I refresh it, it'll change it to a new number again. 1 second. I think I have to do a page reload. So basically guys, this information changes based on the timestamp. Okay, and of course you had to activate the plugin as well. I've already activated earlier, which is why I haven't activated. So my plugin here, my Gutenberg plugin. Okay, great. So next thing, let's do this. Let's go ahead and add some styles to our block. Okay, so I want to show you one thing, that this class name right here. Okay, so we are adding this class name dynamically. So if you do an inspect element here, you will notice that there's a class name it's added called wp-blocks-my-guten-block-test-block. So what this has done is basically this has taken this information. So it's prefixed wp-block, which is this, then it's taken this part, then it's put a dash over here, and then it's added this name. So this plugin name, this is your block name. So it just combined all of that and separate them with dash. Okay, so now we can use this class name. So it's dynamically generated like that. So that's equivalent to this class name. You can see hello world. Right now, if we go to editor.css, because we want to add styles for in the backend, we can say color is equal to cornflower blue. I like that color. And now if I go ahead and refresh the page, brilliant. So we can see guys that this color has been changed. So color CSS has been applied. Now if we publish this and if I view the post, you can see the color over here remains the same. It doesn't change actually. The reason for this is because the editor.css is being applied in the editor and not on the front end. Okay, so to prove that, if you check page source, if you try to find editor.css, you can't find it. But if you find style.css, which we've created for the front end, you will see it. See over here, right? So so that means if you want to go ahead and write styles for how our block would look in the front end, we can put that information into style.css, and we already have a style.css over here, right? So we can just put that. So we'll put the same class name. Why? Because the class name persists. The reason for this is because if you check index.js, when this information gets saved, it's automatically adding the class into the database. Okay, so if you do an inspect element, you can see this class already exists. So you can write the CSS on the same class. It just that will be applied for the front end. So you can put the color to like tomato, and now if you refresh the page, brilliant, its color has been changed. Awesome guys. Okay, great guys. So let me see if there's anything left that I need to cover. Yep, I think it's pretty much covered all. Great guys, so I think we've covered on how you can create custom blocks using ES6, just the basics, using WordPress, how to set up the project, how to set up a plugin, basically a custom plugin for using WordPress-scripts package, okay, that WordPress provides. Alright, and we learned about how to go ahead and register a block, register the styles for them in the editor as well as for the front end. Okay, so in the upcoming videos we will dig deeper now, basically on these functions, how you can create dynamic content in the editor, what are the different functionalities that you can provide to your users, what are different blocks you can use, what are the ready-made blocks that WordPress provides that you can include in your custom blocks. So there's a lot more information coming guys, which will help you create beautiful plugins for Gutenberg. Okay guys, if you did like my video, please do subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.